Now, the Afrikanerbond, an Afrikaner interest group, has paid tribute to the late FW De Klerk. They refer to him as one of the key architects of our democracy. For more now, I'm joined by the Chief Secretary of the Afrikanerbond, Bosman. Thank you very much, Mr. Bosman, for your time here on eNCA. Now, in your statement, you describe his legacy as extraordinary and exceptional. Just elaborate this for us.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. We issued a statement as an Afrikaner interest organization, and it's in this context that we also need to have a discussion that Mr. De Klerk was instrumental in taking the Afrikaners with him on the road he embarked on the 2nd of February 1990. So also 2 years later, he had a referendum in March 1992, in which 70% of the white population voted overwhelmingly for the reform process. And I think in that regard, we need to honor him and respect him.
So your statement was more about his legacy by taking the Afrikaner forward, not the country.
No, also the country. I mean, if he did not do what he did on the 2nd of February 1990, I think we would have seen another country altogether, maybe one with a revolution, maybe one with war, we don't know. But the fact is that he made the announcements on the 2nd of February, and he also was instrumental in the negotiation process. And I think for that, we do not give him enough credit for taking the country forward. But I must also say, for an or an elder statesman, he retired, and after his retirement from active politics, he started to become actively involved again to promote the constitutional values, and I hope that's part of the legacy that we can take forward.
What do you say to South Africans who believe that, part of his legacy is also an apartheid regime that actually had people, very badly treated?
I watched the full video last night, which was recorded a couple of days before he passed away. That I think, and I know him also on a personal level, that was a sincere statement he made, but also in previous meetings he addressed also the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and also some of the other meetings where I was present. He made an apology for the past, but I don't think he always said it in a way that was heard by people most affected by apartheid.
Wouldn't you say it was a little too late for this one that you say was so sincere?
No, as I said, he also made apologies at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. He made it a couple of times after that. But I think it's not for me to say that the apology is accepted. It's for the people who was affected by apartheid. And I listened to the statement by Advocate Tuliman Mansela, amongst which she also said that how do we deal with this now on the way forward with this apology and also with the constitutional democracy that we're in.
Talking about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, it is the former President FW De Klerk himself who publicly stated that the TRC actually didn't do enough to rectify the wrongs that were done during apartheid. So a lot of people would say that he didn't do enough himself during the time that he was not a statesman anymore to the time that he died. He had ample time to rectify and bring the truth to some of the people that were killed during apartheid, but he chose not to.
I think also during the time as president, you must also take into account some of the measures he took. And I cannot speak for him in his capacity as president or even for the foundation of which he was the patron. But you will also remember that he, they call it the Night of the Generals, when he was president, he fired about 16 generals from the South African Defence Force. So I think in that way he acted, but sitting from where I am, I do not have all the facts. I do not know where the decisions were taken. But from my perspective, I think he did what he could. But the TRC process in itself was flawed in the sense that certain recommendations were made to the government of the day. That recommendations were not acted on. One, and two, also the reconciliation process which is part of Truth and Reconciliation. That process never took off, and I think that's listening to the debate, the public debate, the social media debate the last couple of days. I think it just tells us that we're still a very, very far away from any reconciliation in this country.
Definitely. And does the Afrikanerbond accept that apartheid and the atrocities thereof play a huge role in where South Africa is today?
We made a formal submission in 1997, which is also available, in which we said that apartheid was wrong. So there's nothing new that I can add to that, except to say that I think Masego De Klerk, in his apology that was published or put on the website yesterday, I think he speak also to the mind of many of the people who followed him, and that include me on a personal level.
All right, let me ask you this then. Are you understanding of South Africans who were hurt after the passing of FW De Klerk yesterday, who were hurt and reminded of the past?
I cannot speak for any South African who was affected by apartheid. I think that's...
Are you understanding of it, though?
I do understand it. I fully understand it. And that's why we also, from the Afrikanerbond side, have an initiative for discussions, for dialogue. And I think that's even more necessary today in 2021 than it was in 1994, because we are poles apart at this stage.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for your time. Jan Bosman, he is the Chief Secretary of the Afrikanerbond, speaking to us there about the legacy of former or the latest or the last apartheid President FW De Klerk.